Good afternoon and welcome. Welcome indeed, yes, to a Monday edition of the Mark Moses Show podcast. As we're always broadcasting from the Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Take back control of your life. Calm today. This is very key. 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. It's Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Now, joining me here on an action-packed Monday after an amazing weekend of football action is my good friend Kyle Nash. Covers UCF. He covers the Jaguars, the NFL. He does it all for multiple publications. Kyle, how you doing today, buddy?
Honor, joy, and privilege to be in, and I'm going to pull my best Chris Bourbon. Let me be among the last to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. Hope that week was good for you, brother.
Yeah, Thanksgiving is always a great holiday where everyone's in a great mood. No one's negative. Everyone's positive. I just wish we could make the rest of the year like Thanksgiving Day, okay, where everyone's kind of nice to each other. But let's start with this. The emotional response from people yesterday, if we start with college football.
Yeah.
That 12-team playoff was announced, and it had Alabama in, Miami in, no Notre Dame. We'll start there. Give me your thoughts on that, on those three teams and what happened.
I mean, I'd have to call up Richard Roundtree because at this point, a lot of people feel like they got the shift. It's just a rough situation. I don't think Alabama should be in, and I'm going to lead with that as the SEC guy that you. I'm not I'm not Feinbaum. I'm better than that, but I don't think Alabama should have gotten in because of Texas. You're going to put a 3-loss Alabama team ahead of a team that beat an undefeated Texas A&M to keep them out of the playoff and another team in Notre Dame allegedly out of the playoff? That's a tough sale for me. I don't care what's going on there with any of the other things on Texas's resume. I don't feel like Alabama's is better than Texas's, and I don't care about the conference championship game. They got housed. What are we doing here?
This is so complicated from the standpoint of we had a BCS. They're like, all right, we got to have a BCS. So we have the BCS. Then fans go, we don't like this. All right, we'll go to a 14 playoff. We do that. Fans, we don't like this. All right, let's go to 12. We don't like this either. I don't know if whatever they put together for the consumer, and I'm including the schools in on this as well.
Yes.
We could go to a 64-team playoff, and I think people are going to complain. I think whatever happens, it's never going to be 100% happy. I like the point you brought up about Conference Championship Saturday. I think it's worth something. I think the committee decided, look, we have to have these Championship Saturday games. We're making big money. We can't just reward teams that aren't good enough to get to Championship Saturday. I know there's SEC bias, but if you would have taken Bama out, then that would have been it. We never would have had Championship Saturday. My question for you then is, moving forward, do you think we will have these conference championship games?
Well, and you're talking about what period of time we're talking about, right? Until the college football playoff deals and media stuff is all given a chance to sort of reshuffle and that revenue be reestablished somehow, it's going to stay around for a while. I think that's a safe thing. And here's the positive spin on conference championship Saturday, because I'm with you. They're kind of showing, first of all, divisions in college football need to go the way of the dodo first and foremost. That's half the reason we're stuck here in this situation is teams that aren't as good make it to the championships because they sneak in by way of division. That's a thing that has happened in the past, right? So the conference championship games aren't going anywhere because they're a proper tiebreak. Call them play-in games if you want. They're going to exist by that name at the very least when they inevitably, much to my chagrin, expand this playoff, Mark Moses, right? That's what's going to happen with these conference championships games is going to be replaced by play-ins in my perception. But at day's end, do they matter such as they are? They shouldn't. Conference championship games are the reasons why JMU and Tulane are considered among the top 12 teams. What? Come on, guys. I'm all about Tulane and JMU getting their flowers, but not like this.
This is why I bring up BYU.
Yeah.
Where you go the other side. Wait a minute. If we didn't make the championship game and we were 11-1 idle, we'd be in the playoff right now. That's how this is. Look, as you look at an Ole Miss and you look at a Texas A&M, they weren't good enough to get to championship Saturday, and that helped them out. Now they're in, right? They're not going to beat Georgia in Atlanta. I don't think those two teams are good enough. They would have lost. They would have been out. And now they're in. Oregon. Do you think Oregon would have been good enough to beat Ohio State or Indiana in that championship game? We'll never know, but it actually helped Oregon make the tournament. The biggest loser in all of this is, and I want your thoughts, the ACC, where they put on that. I think Miami is fortunate from the standpoint the committee felt so bad for the ACC. They had to throw someone in there. They had to get someone in the dance, or that would have been an embarrassment because if they would have got no teams, I think that would have been the end of the ACC, where they would have gone bye-bye like the Pac-12. What did you think where Miami got in and the ACC only got one representative?
First of all, the ACC is lucky to have gotten a representative. Let's lead with that. I think you make a fantastic point that this isn't about football, but this is about politics in college football by, the ones running the conferences and the show and all that. And I don't mean to be all this, bourgeoisie, kind of hater, kind of whatever person here. But I mean, those are the facts of the case. And to further add to your evidence, Mark Moses, who's the representative in the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl coming up here in Orlando?
I know it's not Notre Dame. Who is it?
It's Georgia Tech over Duke or Virginia. Neither of the participants are in the Citrus Bowl.
Where's Duke then? Are they going to a bowl game?
I'm sure they are. I haven't looked, but I find it fascinating that game normally reserved for that tier of team that falls out in that situation, like Miami last year, right? They participated and lost to Iowa State by a point. I was there for that. I think you were as well. But at day's end, that says more to me about the perception of those teams and the ACC than anything else. Miami got in because there's a brand and there's an opportunity to squeeze them in. But Kyle, they would let Notre Dame in. They have a bigger brand. This is a shot across the bow to force Notre Dame into a conference. I'm calling it here.
What did you think of Notre Dame announcing yesterday? We're taking our ball and we're going home, and we're not going in a bowl game.
And it's funny. I get accused by my people and my friends of being a Notre Dame hater, which is a complete inaccurate statement because I just point out to everybody that their schedule is as bad as an ACC team's, except this year where they only lost by a point to an eventually super dangerous Texas A&M. Notre Dame is right. Notre Dame is right. You're telling me they belong in less than a JMU or a Tulane. And for a team that is among the only ones in the nation that can boast a full retainment of their roster, granted, part of it is that money. I know a little bit. Notre Dame has a little bit of what I'll call the gold privilege, not just their helmets, but the money that program commands. They're able to do certain things others can't. Why would they join a conference? It would be a pay cut. You catch my meaning, Mark? Punchline's this. This is them firing back at the committee for excluding them from JMU. And I don't care what the contract is. And I know next year, if Notre Dame's in the top 12, they have to go. And that's trash. I hate that concept. But I'm perfectly okay with Notre Dame saying no in this scenario, especially when other teams in the Big 12 have also refused bowl games and are getting fined by the conference, by the way.
I want to apologize to the Catholic Church from the standpoint of this. I am 0 for 2 this year in predictions. Back in the summer, someone asked me, did you think the new Pope would ever be American? And I said, there is no way that would ever happen in a billion years. And then he's a Chicago guy who's the new Pope. So I was wrong. That's 0 for 1. I said this whole fall, there is no way you don't have Notre Dame in the dance. There's no way. It's impossible. It's really, this is what I've been saying all season. There's really 11 spots, and then one's just for Notre Dame. And that's what it was supposed to be. I am now 0 for 2. I'd like to apologize. Dude, I think it's the head-to-head. They beat them by a couple points there in South Florida. And you know what it really shows? That voting every week and that selection show every week is a complete waste of time. There is no point of watching that. What's the only vote that matters is the one we had yesterday. Who gets in? No one cares about the rankings. It's a waste of time. But Notre Dame, I think they come off a little clownish. I think they should be in the bowl game. What do you do? What's the point of this then?
I agree with you from the perception standpoint, right? They're just going to look entitled to the fans and the people and the talking heads like us out there. But this is less about our reaction and more saying to the committee, if you're going to play this game of putting in a G5 team, 2 G5 teams in ahead of us, then we're not doing that. We're not playing that. And is it again, I use the term gold privilege. Is it a bit, shall we say, entitled? Absolutely. Do I think it's a bad move? I surely don't. And hey, Mark, look at it this way. The Catholic religion has shown you a little grace. You mentioned it earlier. The Pope is from Chicago. They're not that mad from you at you there, buddy. Okay, let's be clear.
Hey,
stop.
Here's what's funny. The last 6 weeks, we both live in Florida. I want people to know this if you don't live in this state. The Miami fans have been complaining and yelling and yelling and yelling. I feel like it was a Christmas miracle early that they got in and I don't have to hear their complaining anymore. I've never experienced this before to this stamp. I mean, complaining and about something that hasn't happened yet. They were looking into the future that we're going to get screwed. Notre Dame's going to get in. And it's like they were on the campaign trail every single day, Kyle, vouching for including Mario Cristobal, vouching for his team. We need to get in. We need this. So this is my thing. They're going to take on Texas A&M, Kyle.
Yeah.
They better show up in that game. I swear to God, if they get blown out and embarrassed, I don't want to hear it from them ever again.
The gold helmets will be out in full force if that happened, and you know what I'm talking about.
You know what's funny? You look ahead. I think that'll be the only first-round matchup. Maybe that in Oklahoma-Bama, where they're actually interesting games. Like you bring up James Madison. They're going to Eugene, Oregon, aren't they? To take on – they're not going to beat Oregon.
I don't know. If Oregon is the fraud we think they are, can you rule it out?
Oregon's winning that game. And it's funny. Ole Miss is playing Tulane. They beat Tulane before this season. They're in the dance. We didn't have games last year in round one that were interesting. Do you think we'll have games round one this year that'll be competitive and good?
Well, I'll put it this way. They'll be more competitive than SMU was, for example. I'll throw that out there,
But they were deserving to get in.
No way. You need a whole nother podcast just for me to dunk on you about how wrong you are.
So they were good the whole season, then lost the ACC title game.
They were never good. They were beating middle school children throughout the season. What are we doing?
See, that's why. Okay, this is my thing. That's why that Indiana win was so big against Ohio State.
Oh, absolutely correct. Yeah. Hey, listen, I'm forced to believe in Indiana in a way that I hadn't to this point, Mark Moses. The fact that you hung in, let alone won, thanks to self-inflicted wounds, albeit you won that game in a game I didn't think Indiana will be close. They got a ton of respect from me on that. Whether I want to respect them or not, I have no choice now. You're correct. 100%.
That was the game of the year.
Yeah.
Football. It was and you know what's crazy? So the SEC is, I'm sorry. I see I did a Floridian slip there. The Big Ten has won the last 2 national titles. The last 2. The game of the year, 1 versus 2, was not played in the South. It was played in the North, where it was Indiana versus Ohio State. And the committee yesterday said 1-2 is Big Ten teams. Even Georgia is the SEC champion. They're ranked number 3. The Big Ten right now is a better conference. Maybe not top to bottom, but I know you're laughing at me. I'm telling you, the Big Ten right now with NIL and transfer portal and a level field of, just playing, everything's level now. You could pay money. The Big Ten is caught up to the SEC. They're winning national titles now. And they're the one right now. You can make a case. You just laughed at me, but the Big Ten right now, top to bottom, no, but for contenders to win the title, Big Ten right now is a better chance.
So you're saying they're the most accomplished. And I laugh not at you, but the fact that the other people make this argument and words matter, right? The moment you say, well, not top to bottom, well, then you're not talking about a conference. Okay. You're talking about a trophy case, which is important. I'm not cheapening that. maybe the Big Ten is the most accomplished. I could make the argument they're the most accomplished in the college football playoff era, especially considering how they opened everything with Carnell Jones coming in as the backup in the first playoff game under an SEC coach, I might remind everybody.
Yes.
And, yeah, that's a fine argument to make, but don't cram Indiana and Penn State and Wisconsin down my throat. By the way, Oregon is the new Penn State. Win a big game, and then maybe I'll care about you.
I just feel like money-wise, there is money in the Big Ten.
Sure.
Money. And now they're legally allowed to pay for players. I'm sorry to say that. And it's kind of leveled. Look, we will find out. I think right now it's Indiana or Ohio State versus Georgia in the title game. That's my pick for it. That's what's going to happen.
You can't mention money and not think Texas Tech as a dark horse in this scenario, though. $4 million on the D-line alone, Mark Moses.
They're great. And that Rodriguez guy is a monster as a linebacker. They are they humiliated BYU twice now.
Correct.
And they're a great look. Arizona State was a great Big 12 champion last year and who'd they lose to? Texas in that crazy overtime game. Like, yeah, this is going to be exciting. But I just want to say this to you. We live in a world where Florida State, and UCF can't get to a bowl game. Yeah. Can't get to a bowl game. And Indiana is the number 1 ranked team in the country. Number 1. And we can't get to a bowl game. This is the new reality we live in. I'm sorry.
And that's the brilliant point about your NIL piece, right? What was the joke I used to make on my show with you all the time, or even as a guest on your show, right? The SEC has the best college football money can buy. Well, now it's not universally true anymore.
Dude, Cignetti is the man. The man. 2 years. And what's funny, his former team, Jay Madison, they're also in the tournament.
Isn't that funny, though?
Dude, that guy is legit. He and Indiana now, okay, when it happened during the season, I was a little like, are you sure you want to give this guy like an 8-year extension? Now he's worth it, because if he doesn't get the extension, I think he gets a blank check from LSU or some of these other schools. I'm not kidding around.
And he does all the off the field stuff right. Listen, and regardless of about how I feel about Indiana, I get like little pepperings of, for those UCF fans out there that remember Danny White and his hype train, he's doing that sort of stuff from his chair too. I love what's going on there.
Google me. That was the best. And so they've been playing football for over 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
They've never, I don't think they ever had a 10-win season since last year. Like last year was the first year of the 10 wins. Now they went undefeated and they hadn't beat Ohio State in, was it 30 years? It was something, dude. So crazy. That I love this stat also where Virginia, and I felt so bad because I used to live there. Okay. What was it? They've never had an 11-win season, and they've been playing football for 130 years. And they get to overtime and then make some of the dumbest plays. Oh, man. Were you watching that game as well?
I was not wasting my time with the ACC championship. No.
Oh my God. They tie it with 30 seconds ago. They get to overtime. And by the way, don't worry. There's 3 people there in Charlotte watching this game in person. So seriously, Duke gets the ball first. For some reason, Virginia goes into some prevent defense. So Duke's like, okay. And they just keep running it up the middle and score. Then the first play, they try a flea flicker Virginia, and it gets picked off. What are you doing?
Oh, my God.
That's why Mario Cristobal should be sending the flowers to Durham, North Carolina. Oh, man. But, hey, give credit to Duke. Hey, they put us in the game. What do we got to lose? That's an awesome story for those. And Manny Diaz.
100%. I mean, they won't be going to the playoff or, any upper level bowl game, but it's a great story.
It is. What do they care? They're all going to be CEOs anyway. They're not going to the NFL. Hey, we got it. So, I want your thoughts on this then. So the exit interview pretty much for Scott Frost, to end the season, he said, and I quote, college football is broken, right? End quote. You've been covering this guy all season. What were your thoughts on him being that open with his opinion when he looks at the current state of football?
And it's funny. Eric Lopez asked me that same question on the Night Shift podcast. And here's the thing. If you've been paying attention to any of my work on the Black and Gold Banneret, you would know that he's been saying this kind of thing all season. Like, for me, the fact that the word broken was used was why it went viral at this point. The fact that there was no football UCF was playing was why it went viral this time. The time of year he said it was why it went viral this time. Same as his, shall we say, challenges of the system at large when he was in Scott Frost 1.0 during the undefeated season 2017, right? I mean, granted, he went off a little extra heading in the American Conference Championship because at that time he already knew he was coaching somewhere else. But this is what Scott Frost does, and everybody knows he's right, even though Brett Yormark, who's the commissioner of the Big 12, kind of backpedaled some of his comments. Listen, fix the calendar. That's all he's really saying, right? All the stuff you're dealing with players transferring at this and coaches. I say coaches. We all know we're actually talking about Lane Kiffin. Yeah, sure. I know other coaches did it, but the answer is Lane Kiffin. If you want to prevent these things, stop making it so the transfer portal occurs in the middle of the damn championship you spent all these decades building. It's very simple.
I agree. You gotta go back to how we used to have National Signing Day first Wednesday in February.
Right.
Everything should be in February when we remember you're right. They came up with all these new things early signing period in December before we had a 12-team playoff. So it's like, is anyone in charge after a while? That's what I don't understand. Move it all to next February. All of it. Right. And look, I have kids who played high school football in this area. They just lost in the playoffs. Then they're doing their signing day 2 days later, and then they're going to be on campus in 2 weeks for the new year. It's like, what are you talking about?
That's so wild.
I'm with you. I think if I'm Scott Frost, I think what he's kind of saying also, and I want your thoughts on this, is kind of like we've seen in college basketball. I saw UCF play down the stretch. They played better. They don't have the horses yet. They've got to recruit better players to get, if they're going to take that next step, they got to get better on the field. The problem, and this is my opinion, he can recruit. Scott Frost is going to get the players there. I think maybe his fear is he gets them for 1 or 2 years, then they'll bolt and go play for someone in the SEC, and he won't be able to keep them for 3 or 4 years. I think maybe that's also kind of scaring him and other coaches in college football.
No, and there's some good takes there, what you're saying fundamentally, but remember that UCF squad he was coaching, that would have happened to him then too, even with back then not having free transfers, right? I know at that point, like if they had transferred out after 2017 and 2018, they would have sat the year out. You were going to lose players even then. Granted, not at the same volume. I'm not saying this is that. What I am saying is the stuff you're talking about with Scott Frost and the potential of losing players to other programs isn't something he's unfamiliar with. And I don't think he's afraid of it per se. I mean, of course he is. He acknowledges and knows it's existed already. This is a trauma of which his head is already around. I think he's more speaking to the concept of possibly losing players, right? The main reason Scott Frost would pound the table, allegedly, to stop from participating in a bowl game is who the hell would play quarterback. The top 2 on the depth chart have officially transferred out of the program. And that's just where it starts.
Let me tell you something. I have no problem with that. Yeah. I did not like the quarterbacks on the roster. It's nothing personal. I know they're probably very nice kids. They did not have the quarterback on the roster. And I'm sorry. And I think they transferred because they knew that as well, that Frost is probably going to go in another direction. They did not. You could see moments this season where it's like, okay, we got something here. They just got, I can't stress this enough. I know it's a cliche comment. They got to get more horses out there if they're going to win the race. They got a chance to compete. They're not there yet. This is going to be a rebuild. But the question is, can he keep those players long term?
Yeah, no, and that's a great take. I would even offer this and call me. I'm not a UCF homer per se, though I've been accused of that. And also being a USF homer, it's very weird. But that being said, yeah. I have no idea how people think I'm a homer for the Cows. That's a separate question. Punchline's this. I would make the argument they were just a quarterback away. And that's not me being, listen, I've been a Taven Jackson defender. He developed some, but not enough to the way this team needed it to happen. This was a one-dimensional offense, just like it was under Gus Malzahn's final year. The difference was the Alex Grinch defense and special teams playing in a way we haven't seen since what? The hypo era, maybe, if not going all the way back to 2017, right? So I think that element, I would make the argument that this team was good quarterback play away from winning at least, what, 3 more games? If Davy Belfour throws that ball a second sooner against Houston, UCF has 6 wins. They're in a bowl game. We're having a somewhat different conversation.
Okay, I'll just say this to you. 12 months from now, I cannot have this conversation again where they can't get to a bowl game and the coach is saying college football is broken. I'm sorry. Look, I am a big fan of Scott Frost. I am. But he failed horribly at Nebraska, could not get to a bowl game. You have to show growth in year 2. You have to for this. And I get it. They're in a tough conference, the Big 12. There has to be growth in year 2. There has to be.
Don't you feel like you've seen it? Maybe it didn't come out in the record, but to your point, you mentioned it earlier. This is a better team. They need more horses. This was a rebuild. Everybody knew that. And to your point, the real test is this coming off season to see what Frost does with this group. This will be pivotal. This will be what decides the fate of not only UCF, but and Scott Frost, but maybe even Terry Mohajir as well.
It's a great point. We just went 26 minutes on it, and yeah, we're all in. We're not Notre Dame. Okay, we're going to still be here.
They don't have gold privilege, even though they got gold helmets. I hear you, buddy.
Yeah. You know what happened also? So my sister is an alumni of the University of Texas. She's all in. She loves it. I texted her yesterday, hey, Texas is going to play Michigan on New Year's Eve. She's like, what are you talking about? I was like, yeah. She's still angry she didn't go to the Texas-Florida game back in early October, but that was for the best because that was not a pretty game for her Longhorns. Mm-hmm. So here's what she did. She goes, we're going. I go, what are you talking about? Yeah, my sister, Dr. Sarah Moses, I will give her props. She goes, we're going. So she bought the tickets and everything. We're going. So I have to root for Arch Manning on New Year's Eve against Michigan. That's what we're going. She's like, I'm going to the bowl game. You're coming with me, Mark. We're going. So I'm not going as media. I have to go as a fan for the burnt orange. I'm sorry to say that.
Hey, well, listen, maybe I could stop by and shake hands with you and Dr. Moses while I'm there on December 31st. Yeah, it's right. I got mixed up with the Pop-Tarts Bowl. You know me. I'm planning to do both.
Yeah, so Cheez-It. No. It's not the Cheez-It Bowl.
It's the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl.
That's right. So, yeah, who's in the Pop-Tart Bowl then? Who's in that game?
That would be so the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl is
I put you on the spot.
Yeah, you did. It's Georgia Tech and BYU is the other game. So it's Texas, Michigan, and then it's Georgia Tech, BYU. See, I came up with it. I just had to have
I think the Florida Citrus Sports people, they should tell BYU and Georgia Tech, hey, don't be like the Hurricanes like last year, where your quarterback plays for a half and then decides not to play because they're too good for the Pop-Tarts Bowl, and then they lose. How about play 4 quarters of football? How about that? We do that in the game.
Hey, listen, it wasn't Cam Ward that had the defense let Matt Campbell, or I should say former Matt Campbell, Iowa State's Cyclones back in the game now.
Did you like that also? I love we're just throwing. There's so many headlines going on in the last 24 hours.
Oh, it's insane.
I like where Jamie Pollard, the athletic director, still at Iowa State. He was there when I was there covering games in 2007. So Jamie Pollard, he's out there emotionally crying that he's losing his coach, Matt Campbell, who did so much for the program. Did they win anything? I just want to say this. I know they were competitive. They didn't win a Big 12. I don't think so. Who beat them? Was it Oklahoma State? Someone beat them in that Big 12 title game. Matt Campbell, great coach, still did not win anything there in the Big 12.
Wow. I see. That's up there. That's up there with Marvin Lewis hating Cincinnati. He went to the playoffs 4 times. He didn't win any. Listen, you're looking at it the wrong way. It's not, hey, Matt Campbell didn't do anything, which, by the way, the student of the game is very much pro Matt Campbell. Fantastic guy. I've talked with him in person. Super cool dude. But it's what the program would have been without him that is making that AD so emotional. I think right.
Hey, he'll fit in with Penn State.
I think so too.
They can't win either.
Right. Oh, that's so mean.
I'm sorry. You can clip that quote.
Hey, wow.
You can clip it. Look. They should have just kept James Franklin, but what are you going to do?
That's a whole other podcast. I can see why they thought what they thought. I'll leave it at that.
Let's end with this. All right. So the Jaguars keep winning. But you know what's funny? I think the Colts are done. I think losing their quarterback, unless Anthony Richardson could show up. I don't know where he went, but that was a big win. Yes. I mean, they dropped 30 points on the Colts.
Yeah.
Colts are a sinking ship. The Texans won yesterday. So this is a 2-team race. What are your thoughts here with 4 games to go in the regular season?
I mean, yeah, in particular in the AFC South. First of all, I mean, it's unfortunate. I think you're right that the Colts are out of it, but I'm not going to declare it definitively as yet. There's still another football game they have to play against both the Jags, and I believe they have the Texans still in week 17 as well. So those are 2 very huge games. If Indy can somehow pull out those in any way, shape, form, or fashion, there's hope. But why do I think Indy is still relevant? You've mentioned 2 names, and neither of them are a guy who should have NFL MVP honors to this point, and that's Jonathan Taylor. If he can break open and run the football, the other team's got a problem. And that was why Danny Dimes, Indiana Jones, whatever you want to call him, Daniel Jones getting hurt yesterday was the big deal, is that forced the Colts to be one-dimensional on offense, and they went to work. Trevor Lawrence had his single best play of the game. So says Travis C. Holmes of the Duval Dive, at least. And everybody, all the players that Jags fans have been waiting for something from got something, right? BTJ with the big one-hand catch. You had Devin Lloyd get another interception. We've been hearing about Josh Hines-Island. He doesn't get enough sacks. Bam, safety punks. How about that? You know, down the line, I'm forgetting somebody, I'm sure, but Trevor among them, guys who fans in the Duval Devout have been asking for the Jaguars to make plays with happened, and it was probably the single most important game of the year to date that they did it. By the way, 10-0 against the Colts in Everbank, a decade of dominance. It's insane.
That's a big win. So what is it, 4-game winning streak? What is
yeah, and conversely, is it 5? Yeah, shoot, I might even have to look that up on the fly. But I'll say this: it's more about, in my opinion, it's more about the Colts than the Jags in this particular point. The Colts are on a 3-game losing streak and lost 4 out of their past 5. Meanwhile, the Jags are on a 4-game winning streak, have won 5 of their past 6.
Wow.
One horrible fourth quarter away from undefeated since the bye.
The game against Houston.
Correct.
That game against David Mills, who beat him late. You're right. And look, hey, again, this is the biggest game of the season. They came out. I know it was terrible weather yesterday.
Yeah.
And they dropped 30-plus points on the Colts. And, I mean, this is a big win. That's why, and I've said this for a couple weeks, and I want your pick now, and it could change at any time. You look at Coach of the Year in the NFL. I think Liam Cohen, Dave Canales there in Carolina, Ben Johnson in Chicago, Mike Vrabel. I mean, you could go with the Broncos. I mean, like, all these coaches, all these guys.
Kyle Shanahan,
all these guys. It's incredible what they done. Look, I still think it's Carolina's coach because I just think Bryce Young was, I mean, he was benched last year. You thought he was a bust. And I just like, they were picked probably to be the worst team in football. And they're right. I mean, they have a chance to steal that division. It's insane.
Yeah, they've managed to make Bryce into a game manager. A quarterback with mobility that has had confidence and accuracy issues, suddenly playing the way that everybody hoped they would. Sounds kind of like Trevor Lawrence.
I know. Look, Liam Cohen. Hey, how many wins did the Jags have last year? 4?
That would be 4, sir.
4, and you have a chance now to get to maybe 11, 12. I don't. Then it's wild to think. And the thing is, this season, one with this, and I appreciate coming on.
Sure.
There are so many teams that have a chance to go on a run to get to the Super Bowl.
It's insane.
It's insane. This is one of the most exciting seasons I think we've ever had. There's no Kansas City in the way of you getting to the Super Bowl. It's kind of like in the NBA when, you had LeBron James, where if he's on Miami or Cleveland for 8 straight years, like you couldn't get through LeBron. There's no one in your way from getting there. That's how exciting this is. Do you feel that way?
I think you're plenty close, but be careful how you protest, my friend. Sure, Joey Burr, non-factor. Patrick Levine Mahomes II, non-factor. However, in the state of New York, somebody has the potential to make a giant run the way Eli did, and that could be Josh Allen in the Bills.
I agree. I think he could go to New England and Denver and beat both those teams. I do. Like, I think it's possible. This could be it. And in the NFC, look. I'm going to say this. My Bears.
Congratulations, by the way.
Think about this. They were the 1 seed at kickoff. They lose by 7, and now they're the 7th seed.
That's insane.
That's how crazy. It's like a log jam. But people, I was telling this to my brother, people are going to play each other. So it's not going to be some scenario where 5 teams have 13 wins. Like, that's not going to happen.
Correct.
It feels that way. People are going to play each other. But, dude, I think tonight with Philly has a chance to get right, get a win against the Chargers, and get back into, like, they still have a chance here to turn this around and still get the 1 seed. It's possible.
You know what else they have a chance to do? Their best impression of Janet Jackson in a Super Bowl halftime show and expose themselves. I said what I said.
Here's what I liked yesterday. My Bears were right there. For the first time, I was talking about Virginia playing for 130 years. It feels like that second half, okay, we have some firepower. Fine, for the first time. Maybe the sign of the apocalypse, but all right, so seriously, he threw that play they did the week before against Philadelphia, and it worked to Kmet. Give credit to the Packers. They did their homework. They did. They were ready for DJ Moore was wide open. He went for Kmet. They were ready for the interception. But the Bears are right. They're right there. We're going to kill Shedeur Sanders and the Browns on Sunday. We're going to kill them. And then we have Green Bay, Monday Night Football against your Niners, and then Detroit, and that'll be prime time as well. So there you go. So drink your Pepto-Bismol now. If
you know, at the end of the day, it's only a factor because the Dallas Cowboys couldn't handle business against the Pack a few weeks back. I'm just
and look, you grew up rooting for the Niners.
I did.
They could make a run. I think they're under the radar. I think
completely,
which is perfect for them. Perfect.
We're talking about injuries. We're talking about Brandon Ayuk. We're not talking about the Niners. That's a great point by you, Mark Moses.
It is. And I love your Mike Allstott jersey you've been talking with this whole time. Fantastic. Affiliate Catholic Purdue alum. What's it called? I hope you have great holidays.
Yeah, man.
And I hope I can get you on again sometime. All right, man.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, we got some bowl game craziness to talk about, if nothing else, right, man? So an honor, joy, and privilege to jump aboard. Thank you for letting me do my thing here. Of course, I'm Kyle Nash, student of the game. Find me on all the socials at the SOTG. Find me on Facebook as a student of the game. Duval Dive, Black and Gold Banneret, and my coverage of the Magic. Until next time, everybody. Mark, thanks again, brother. Class dismissed.